Here are 10 more secrets in Elden Rings Shadow of the Erdtree DLC that you probably missed, and one special bonus that even the most seasoned of players definitely don't know about. So let's dive straight in. Number 1. The Euporia is a legendary faith-based twin blade that is arguably one of the best weapons in the DLC, but finding it can be troublesome. So to find it, starting off from the Spiral Rise Site of Grace in Enria Ilim, located here on the map, first head down the main staircase heading east. Then at the bottom of the stairs, you will find a smaller set of stairs on the left-hand side. Head down this smaller set of stairs and then head through the archway. On the other side of the arch, you will find a broken floor in front of you. Drop down through the broken floor and land on the staircase below. Follow the staircase all the way to the building at the top. In this building, you will find a broken railing on the south wall. Very carefully drop down from this railing and land on the ledge below. Next, you will need to work your way around the ledge along the arches until you reach the corner pillar of the building. When you reach the corner, drop down onto the larger ledge below. From this ledge, you will need to run and jump across the gap to the building with the spiral ledge. Follow this spiral ledge down around the building and then, at the end, drop through the hole in the wall of the building. From this next platform, run and jump across the gap and land in the window. Once you have landed in the window ledge, drop down into the room and you will have reached the Ballarat Tower settlement. Be careful here, as when you exit this room, you will be ambushed by a spider scorpion enemy dropping down from above the doorway. Either defeat it or run straight past it and go all the way down the stairs until you reach a large elevator. Take the elevator all the way down until you reach the bottom. Once at the bottom of the elevator, head outside, and then follow the stairs all the way down, taking out the 3 enemies that are prowling the stairs, or just run straight past them. Once you get past these enemies, you will reach another staircase where a Hornsent enemy is waiting for you. Again, either kill him or run straight past. After the Hornsent enemy, you will enter a room containing another elevator. Take this all the way to the bottom. Once at the bottom of the elevator, exit the room and cross the bridge. Then open the large doors at the end and you will find yourself in a room, and the Euporia will be on the corpse at the end of the room. Number 2. The Stone Coffin Fissure is a locked area in the very southwest of the Cerulean Coast, at the end of the peninsula, located here on the map. From the Cerulean Coast cross site of Grace, follow the coast west until you reach the main path, and then follow it south down the length of the peninsula, past the troll and the monolithic stone boat. Work your way all the way south and you will reach a large hole in the ground. Then jump down the ledges to the right of the hole until you reach the very bottom, and eventually you will find the Fissure Site of Grace. Then, just a little further down from the Site of Grace, you will find your path blocked by a large golden fog gate, and you will receive the message, "Sealed and obscured by Miquella." To gain access, you will need to wait until Miquella's Great Rune is broken, and this will happen when you pass 2 potential locations elsewhere on the map. The first trigger point for this is on the approach to the Shadow Keep, and the second trigger point is when you cross the bridge east of the Bonnie village, following the main path north. At both of these locations, when you pass them, you will receive an audible cue, and the on-screen message, "Somewhere a great rune has broken," and so too has a powerful charm. Once you have received this prompt, you are safe to return to the Fissure Site of Grace, and explore this optional hidden area, and eventually take a leap of faith to take on one of the DLC's most decrepit bosses. Number 3. The Divine Beast Dancing Lion is most likely one of the first main bosses you will encounter on your DLC playthrough, and while I found it extremely humbling on my first attempt, it was soon defeated with relative ease. So to my delight, the opportunity to take on this elementally infused boss again later in the DLC was a huge surprise. That's right, the Divine Beast Dancing Lion has a second variant that can be fought in the ancient ruins of Rao. To get to this optional boss, from the Church of the Bud main entrance site of Grace, near where you fought Romina, located here on the map, in the Western Rao ruins, drop off the ledge to the southeast. Then continue southeast past the gazebo, and as you approach the cliff edge, you'll see a number of stone beams and pillars beneath you. Carefully drop down onto the uppermost level, and then down to the beams below, and carefully make your way along them to reach a platform on the northeast that has an elevator on it. Once on the elevator, activate the pressure plate and ride the elevator all the way to the top, and you'll find the Ancient Ruins Grand Stairway Site of Grace. From this Site of Grace, continue northeast down a large set of stairs where several shadow hounds await, as well as a giant bow-wielding golem in the distance. Try to avoid its projectiles as you make your way down, and then drop off to the edge at the bottom onto the lower platform on the left-hand side. Next, towards the end of this lower platform, jump across to your right onto a small area taken up by a large pillared building. In this building, you will find the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, and this time, your trusty steed Torrent can be used to help out. Number 4. The Abyssal Woods contain one of the DLC's most formidable enemies, the Aging Untouchable. For most, this enemy may seem to be invulnerable, and for the most part, it is, as light and heavy attacks have no effect on them. In order to take down this enemy, you must first parry it during its grab attack. Then, once you have performed a successful parry, you can then attack them and deal damage as normal. The game does actually provide you with a small clue on how to defeat the Aging Untouchables via the torn diary page that can be found in Midra's Manse. As it states, "I touched him, but only once. When he thrust his staff in my face, I brushed it aside. It was then that I touched him, the Aging Untouchable." Of the 6 aging untouchables located in the Abyssal Woods, killing the one located nearest the abandoned church will drop the Aged One's Exaltation Talisman. This enemy is located roughly halfway between the Abyssal Woods Site of Grace and the abandoned church Site of Grace, located here on the map. The Aged One's Exaltation Talisman, when equipped, will increase your attack power by 20% for 30 seconds when madness is triggered in the vicinity. Number 5. If you happen to be in the southwest of the Cerulean coast looking off into the distant seas, you will have spotted a lone island with a structure on top. Well, this is actually the Southern Nameless Mausoleum, and as per the other mausoleums in the DLC, this one also contains an optional boss fight. So to get to this distant location, from the Cerulean Coast West Site of Grace, located here on the map, head southeast along the coast until you reach this withered tree. If you stand on the edge of the cliff and look down, you will see a path and a cave entrance. Follow this path down and then enter the cave. Once you have entered the cave, drop down the ledges until you reach the very bottom, and then follow the cave to the west. You will then enter a wider cavern within the cave, but be careful as a lobster enemy is waiting to ambush you. So either fight it or continue forward into the tunnel at the far end. Then follow this tunnel until you reach the exit, and you will now find yourself on the island containing the Southern Nameless Mausoleum. Head up the hill and then enter the mausoleum, and you will then face off against the Dancer of Rana boss fight. Before we move on to the next one, if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell to make sure you don't miss out on even more Elden Ring content. Number 6. The Land of Shadows hides many secrets in all sorts of nooks and crannies, but sometimes it also hides secrets in plain sight. And these secrets can be found if you know not just where, but when to look for them. That's right, during the night cycle, providing you are in the correct locations, you can find up to 9 larval tears located within a ring of blue glowing spectral gravestones. If you walk over these same locations during the daytime, you will not be able to obtain them. But once the night cycle begins, you can collect the larval tears, which you can then use to respec your character. Check out my video linked both at the top of this video and in the description below for all 9 larval tear locations. Number 7. Finding the ruins of Unte was a secret to many, but in addition to this, it also holds many secrets in and of itself. The first of these secrets relates to the apparently dead furnace golem that is slouched against its ruins. It is actually possible to awaken this furnace golem and gain access to the ruins behind it. In order to do this, you will need to traverse up the ruins just to the left of the golem. So to get here, go through the gap in the buildings to the left of the golem, then go into the ruined building to the right of the arch and head up the staircase. Then come back on yourself and carefully traverse the winding wall, and then follow the rooftops until you reach the next set of stairs. Head up the stairs and you will reach a ledge overlooking the furnace golem. From here, equip your hefty furnace pot and throw it into the basket at the top of the furnace golem, and it will awaken it in a fiery blaze. Now that it is awake, you can either take it on as per any other unarmored furnace golems by attacking its legs and performing critical attacks to its face, or you can take him on from another higher ground utilising the hefty pots. To access this next area, you will need to head to the back right section of the ruins of Unte, and you will find a broken section of wall. Head up the left hand side of this broken bit of wall, and then follow the top of the wall as far as you can. When you reach the pillar, you will need to jump around it onto the smaller section of wall. To then jump onto the next higher platform, you will need to position Torrent on this little bit sticking up right here, and then when you jump, you will be able to reach the platform. Then from this position, you can throw more hefty furnace pots into the large basket at the top of the furnace column until it is taken out. Once defeated, you will be rewarded with a furnace visage and the blood-sucking crack tear, and you will have access to the ruins of Unte. Number 8. The Fog Rift Catacombs are full of hidden paths, nooks and crannies containing all sorts of goodies, like the Black Knight Commander Andrea's Spirit Summon or the Electro Charge Incantation. But another one of these secrets is in a blink and you'll miss it location. So in the area of the catacombs where you encounter the third spiked ceiling trap that drops down on you, you will find a caster at the far end of the room on a raised platform. Make your way over to the far end of the room utilising the alcoves on the left hand side to avoid the spike trap as and when it drops. Once at the far end, kill the caster on the raised platform and then walk up to the railing until the spiked ceiling drops down, and you will see a small nook in the side of the drop ceiling. So quickly jump into it and ride the ceiling trap up to the top. When you reach the top, you will see a new platform that you can jump onto, and in this new area you will find a secret chest that contains the Blink Bolt Ash of War, which when used turns your character into lightning, dashing forwards at very high speeds, dishing out damage to any enemies caught in your path. Number 9. The Fog Rift Catacombs are home to another secret, and this one starts a chain of secret areas that will give you access to 2 legendary weapons. From the room with the third spike ceiling trap, ride it up to the top and exit where you found the Blink Bolt Ash of War. From this area, wait for the ceiling to drop back down and then jump onto the top of the trap ceiling. Then follow the ceiling all the way to the opposite end, and then you will find an alcove to the back right, which is the northeast corner of the room, that can be jumped onto when the trap ceiling is high enough. Once you have jumped into this area, you will find an altar at the end of the room. This is one of 3 altars that can be found throughout the Land of Shadows, and on whichever one you find first, you will find the Stone Sheath Sword. This sword can then be used at one of the other two altars to make either the Sword of Darkness or the Sword of Light. Number 10. The Runes of Unte, located here on the map, contain two items that can only be obtained once you have access to it, after removing the dead furnace golem blocking the entrance. Once you have access, enter the ruins and then head to the rear of the area, and you can then enter the small building and find a chest containing the giant golden arc incantation, which is a new spiral incantation that fires a sweeping golden barbed arc that mows down your enemies. In addition to this incantation, on the right hand side of the ruins is the second altar, which you can then use to obtain the stone sheath sword. If however you have already obtained the sword at one of the other two locations, you can now use this altar to transform the stone sheath sword into either the Sword of Darkness or the Sword of Light. So simply walk up to the altar and press interact and the sword will instantly transform. Bonus secret. The final altar that can be utilised for obtaining the stone sheath sword or turning it into either the Sword of Shadow or the Sword of Light is located in what appears to be an unreachable tower in the ancient ruins of Rao, located here on the map. But in order to access this tower, you will need to cross an invisible bridge, so be prepared to take a leap of faith or have your rainbow stones at the ready. The nearest site of grace that you can access this tower from is the West Rao Ancient Ruins Site of Grace, located here on the map. From this site of grace, head southwest towards the double archway, and once through, stick to the left hand side and go up the stairs, turning right at the top and head up the next set of stairs. You will then enter a room with multiple pillars and archways. In here, head for the back right corner of the room heading north, and you will find an archway leading outside. Once outside, go down the stairs into the shallow water and then continue forwards to the left hand side of the gazebo. After you have passed the gazebo, head up the small stairs and go through the archway, and you will then enter a rock-filled corridor. In here, head to the very end of the corridor and then turn right at the end, and you will find yourself in another rock-filled room with arches leading outside on the northeast wall. Head through either archway and you will see a broken bridge leading to a tower. Position yourself in the centre and then take a leap of faith and follow the invisible bridge straight forward towards the tower. And once inside, you will find the third and final altar, which you can then use to either obtain the stone sheath sword, if this is your first altar, or it can be utilised to turn the stone sheath sword into the Sword of Light. So, how do the altars actually work? Well, to start off with, there are 3 altars in the Land of Shadows. The first one is in the Fogriff Catacombs, the second one is in the Runes of Unte, and the third one is in the Ancient Ruins of Rao. Whichever of the 3 altars you encounter first will have the stone sheath sword resting on it, allowing you to pick it up. Once you have done this, this particular altar can then no longer be used. The remaining 2 altars then allow you to transform the stone sheath sword into either the Sword of Darkness or the Sword of Light. Depending on which altar you then interact with will determine which of the 2 swords the stone sheath sword will then transform into. This is determined by the elevation of the 3 altars, with the altar in the Fogriff Catacombs being the lowest elevation, the altar in the Runes of Unte being in the middle elevation, and then finally the altar in the Ancient Ruins of Rao being at the highest elevation. To turn your stone sheath sword into the Sword of Darkness, you will need to go to the remaining altar that has the lowest elevation. And likewise, to transform it into the Sword of Light will require you to go to the remaining altar with the highest elevation. So, for example, if you collected the stone sheath sword from the Fogriff Catacombs, then to turn it into the Sword of Darkness will require you to go to the lowest elevation remaining altar, which is at the Runes of Unte. And to turn it into the Sword of Light, you will need to go to the highest elevation remaining altar, which is at the Ancient Ruins of Rao. Here is a quick graphic to show you which altars you need to go to depending on where you originally acquired the stone sheath sword from. So once you have transformed the stone sheath sword into either the Sword of Darkness or the Sword of Light, you can then still choose to change it into the other one. So to do this, you just need to then go to the opposing altar to transform it again, and this can be switched back and forth indefinitely. It is also worth noting that when you transform the sword, whether it be from the stone sheath sword or between the Sword of Light and the Sword of Darkness, its upgrade levels will be retained. And for now, that's it! Let me know in the comment section below how many of these you already knew about, and which one surprised you the most. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Elden Ring content.